What is going on, my crazy 76er fanatics? Thanks for stopping back in for another daily pod with your daily 76er information. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because if you leave a comment or two, we're reading more than a few. We read all of your comments. And the most recent comments I need to highlight from our video that got the fans and the people talking. Guys, K. White went out there to say, Ben Simmons, stop it. Dude's got no dog, no heart. K. White. I never said Ben Simmons was a dog. I never said Ben Simmons had heart. What I did say is Ben Simmons still has some juice left in his legs, still has some playability left in his bad back, and Ben Simmons could be a useful player on this Philadelphia 76ers squad who has a lot of defensive holes, has a lot of point guard and playmaking questions, and have a lot of availability for a player of a Ben Simmons caliber when Ben Simmons is playing at a high caliber style of play. I'm just saying Ben isn't a bad pick. Another comment I saw from a young property group, they went on to say that you're mad at Daryl Morey for releasing Ricky Council the fourth. Yeah, I think all Philadelphia 76ers fans should be furious at Daryl Morey giving up a guy with one of the highest ceilings, with one of the brightest upsides, and with the most athletic, hustle, and energetic play style this team has had maybe since an Andre Iguodala. Ricky Council was a fast break phenom. He just needed more usage, needed more opportunity, and obviously needed more time to find a consistent jump shot and three-point ability. I love Ricky Council, and I still hope he has a great career over there for those Brooklyn Nets, guys. Guys, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, because we're reading all your comments, guys, all of your comments. And have you heard what the people have been talking about in terms of a Tyrese Maxey trade? Guys, breaking news, if you haven't heard, this is the first and the last season that Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, BJ Edgecombe, and all the new acquisition guys will be playing together in a Philadelphia uniform. This is the very last season, and the first season, they get to cook up together. Because the rumor on the street is that Tyrese Maxey may be traded. Now, you got to ask yourself, why would the Sixers trade the face of the franchise? Why would the Philadelphia 76ers trade their guy, Tyrese Maxey? Let's just take a little trip through time and do a little rewind. Do you remember when the Golden State Warriors had two point guard / shooting guard phenoms who they couldn't decide who was going to be the focal point of the offense? I'm talking about back in about 2010-11 when they had Monte Ellis and Steph Curry. The Golden State Warriors decided to go with the younger star, the up-and-coming guard, and trade Monte Ellis for Andre Bogut and Steven Jackson. May not be a bad trade. May also find a repeat in history with those Philadelphia 76ers because you got a young guard, an up-and-coming guard, a potential up-and-coming star in a Jared McCain, and you've got a reliable piece in Tyrese Maxey, which some are comparing to Monte Ellis. Now, there are huge differences and discrepancies in those comparisons because Tyrese Maxey is an all-star. Tyrese Maxey is an up-and-coming superstar, and Tyrese Maxey is a great leader. All things that you can say Monte Ellis never was. Was not a leader, was a fringe all-star, but just was not consistent. Tyrese Maxey is all those things that Monte Ellis wasn't. But a trade for Tyrese Maxey could make a lot of sense and could bring back a bigger return than a Monte Ellis trade did. Because, again, Tyrese Maxey is a superstar. And if this Sixer team is just struggling to make the playoffs, maybe just chipping away at another play-in bid, play-in spot, it may be time for a complete rebuild. It may be time for a complete reconstruction of this squad. And if you do make that decision, if you do make that move, putting the keys in the hand of Jared McCain, based off of last season, could make a lot of sense. Now, of course, the reason a trade and a conversation like that hasn't really gotten legs to walk and talk the way we wanted to is because Jared McCain only played about 30 games last season. We're not sure how consistent or how great Jared McCain truly is. And now that defenses, scouting reports, have a scheme and a defensive plan for Jared McCain they're probably going to put in place this season, Jared's going to see a lot more defensive looks, a lot more troublesome coverage than he saw last season. Can he handle it? Can he improve? And can Jared continue to be a bucket getter that we saw last season? That will determine, guys, if this trade, if this rebuild, if this entire team reconstruction even make sense. I do like the comparisons of Jared McCain to Steph Curry. You look at their gameplay, guys. Who do you compare Jared McCain's game to? On court only. On court only. Who do you compare his game to? He moves without the ball. He shoots when he gets the ball. He's looking to attack, get to the rack, or pass to get it back and shoot a three. That sounds just like Steph or Seth Curry. I think those are Jared McCain's comparisons. And if Jared McCain is going to be potentially the next Stephen Curry, it would make sense, man, to give more room in that point guard and that backcourt for Jared McCain to operate. It would make more sense for Jared McCain to get more on-ball opportunity and more on-ball play. A Tyrese Maxey trade, if this team is rebuilding and reconstructing, would bring back a huge haul. You could trade Tyrese Maxey, a few more pieces, for Giannis Antetokounmpo. You can trade Tyrese Maxey, a few more pieces, for Devin Booker. Tyrese Maxey is a superstar. And if a rebuild, a reconstruction is on the way, Tyrese Maxey may be the player you have to trade because Paul George isn't warranting a huge return. Joel Embiid isn't warranting a huge return right now in the market. The only huge tradable asset this Philadelphia 76ers team has is a Tyrese Maxey. And they may have their backs covered with the upside and the potential of a Jared McCain-led team. But Jared McCain may not be the only player we got to keep our eye out for, guys. How about Quentin Grimes? Rumor is on the street is that Quentin Grimes is saying to heck with negotiations. You know what? To heck with these contract offers. I will sign the qualifying offer sheet and work on a prove-it deal. And normally, guys, a prove-it deal is exactly what you don't want to see from a guy on your team who is going to carry a heavy load offensively and defensively. If he's proven his worth, guys, it's going to be extremely difficult to explain why you're giving this guy 30 minutes and allowing him to outplay the potential contract that you can give him. An unrestricted free agent is a lot tougher to retain than a restricted free agent. Restricted free agents, you got no rights because we got your bird rights. An unrestricted free agent, you go wherever you like. Quentin Grimes, guys, signing a qualifying offer could be a Philadelphia Sixer fan, Philadelphia Sixer front office nightmare because he is another huge tradable piece, huge tradable asset. If you can get him under contract for multiple years, whatever the guaranteed money is, as long as it's not max contract money because he hasn't shown to be a max contract player, as long as it's not max contract money, Quentin Grimes signing any contract would be great for those Philadelphia 76ers, as long as it's not this 1 year qualifying offer. Because if Quentin Grimes signs a qualifying offer, a $6 million, $7 million deal on a prove-it year contract, guys, he's going to prove why he's extremely valuable. Because Paul George is not ready for training camp. Joel Embiid, rumored is, won't be ready for training camp, which leaves so much offensive ability, offensive usage, and the offensive upside for Quentin Grimes to display what he displayed last season on a losing team. You know Quentin Grimes can shoot. You know he can knock down a three. You know he's really reliable in the mid-range. But what we saw last season was on-ball ability, was play-making chops, was point guard skills. And if he's able to prove that and show that on a 1 year deal for this Philadelphia 76er team and fill the holes that Joel Embiid and Paul George are going to leave wide open, guys, you are looking at a max contract player. You are looking at Quentin Grimes who's going to warrant max contract money on the open market. And if Quentin Grimes plays like that, and he continues to stay playing at the consistent play that we saw after the trade deadline, there's no way this Philadelphia 76er team could retain him without making some form of sign and trade, which makes the most sense, guys. Will the 76ers sign and trade Quentin Grimes if he signs that qualifying offer? If he outplays the contract they're expecting him to sign? Absolutely, you're going to have to sign and trade Quentin Grimes on a max money, guys. On max money. If he does outplay, which he should and has been outplaying every contract he's been on in this Philadelphia uniform, if he continues to be a bucket getter and a star-studded defender, there's no way you have any space, any contract space to give Quentin Grimes $25 million a year and still build a comparable team behind him with Paul George, and Joel Embiid still on that team. Signing Quentin Grimes could be a huge asset for this team because teams are barking to go get him. I'm talking about the Lakers, JJ Redick and Quentin Grimes. They have some history. They've got some chemistry, and the Lakers would love to sign Quentin Grimes next to Luka Doncic. Who else? Maybe the Suns finally go full rebuild, and you can trade Quentin Grimes, sign Quentin Grimes, trade Quentin Grimes for Devin Booker, add Paul George on there too. You never know what could happen, what will happen in this NBA. But if Quentin Grimes decides to play on a one-year prove-it deal, guys, it's going to prove why Daryl Morey may have to get out of this Philadelphia 76ers front office, because you need a guy like him to build the backbone of your franchise. You need a guy like him to prove why you can be a consistent contender. Winners win with winners, and you need chemistry with your players to become winners. A one-year deal for Quentin Grimes would be a nightmare for this Philadelphia 76er team, and a one-year prove-it deal where he's proven his value, but this team is proving again why a rebuild is necessary, because they aren't in the playoffs. They are chipping away at a play-in bid. I think you can say goodbye, Daryl, and hello, trade market for Quentin Grimes and Tyrese Maxey, guys. I am terrified of a Philadelphia 76er rebuild, and I'm also scared of the comments you guys are going to leave below after this video. Guys, like, subscribe, and comment. Make sure you leave a comment or two, because we're reading more than a few. We read all your comments, guys, and we'll be back tomorrow with another daily episode of Daily Sixer Discourse. We'll be back, guys. Thanks for tuning in.